Hi everyone, we're here with Ian Eker, who's the Asia Pacific Director for Proactive Global. Ian, wonderful to chat with you, and thanks for being a great partner of CeMAT Australia 2024.
Pleasure. It's great to be involved.
Ian, let's kick off by talking, and I'll hand over the mic to you to talk about Proactive and what you guys are all about.
We're the world's largest pure play recruiter in industrial automation. So this is the third year we've had some sort of involvement with CeMAT, but the first time we've had the chance to be a sponsor. There's a lot of familiar faces that we've seen for the last couple of years. Well, our brief history in this part of the world is we only opened the office 4.5 years ago. So 3 years ago was our first chance to meet a lot of the customers that we dealt with over the course of COVID, but not really had the chance to meet and shake their hand.
Great. And Ian, can I ask, so talk about, I mean, you said you know so many people in the expo. Talk about why it's so important for Proactive to be part of CeMAT Australia.
We were originally born in the UK. We've been working in this market now for 22, 23 years, headquartered in the UK, but we also deal in Europe and in the States as well. As far as Asia Pacific is concerned, a lot of our work is vendor-side solutions providers, so there's a lot of familiar names. We've been recruiting in that space, and consistently over the course of the last 4.5 years, customers have identified skills shortages and talent challenges as one of their top 3 business challenges. So it's great to see. It's very rare that we see so many of our customers and hopefully prospective customers in the same room at the same time. So it's very efficient, but it's also nice to feel part of that community as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think, that it is especially here in Australia, it's a very tight-knit community, and a lot of people know each other. So, your role must be a little bit tricky sometimes to navigate in some of that world. But let's talk about some of the variety of roles that sort of come across your desk with Proactive.
It's changed in recent times. If you look back at what was happening during the pandemic and the growth that we had in the market around Intralogistics at the time, there's a lot of work in projects, less so at this point in time. And I think the general mood music is there's a backlog of work which is being built up. Customers are still being very careful with their money. They're confident that there is a strong pipeline of work that needs to be done, and quite a few are waiting for the right time. Their customers are waiting for the right time to go and spend that cash. Hopefully we'll see some of that project work come back to market. But in the last 6 months, more roles around front-end sales, design, and I think that's probably fairly typical of where the market sentiment is at the moment.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. And from a candidate's perspective, there must be a huge demand for them and some great skills. So they must be, really on your radar to try and pick the best candidates and keep them on your lookout as well.
We try to tick 2 boxes. Being in the domestic market is always step 1. People want to find people with local experience. They often know a lot of the people that they'd like to speak to as well, and probably quite a few of them were in the room as well. Equally at the same time, there's always an appetite for people like me with my accent to move over to Australia. We can tick the international box for those people who've got a genuine interest in moving to Australia, as well as cover the domestic market. So I hope it's an additional benefit, domestic market first, but also that reach into the international space.
Yeah, really well said. I think that there is a lot of expertise and experience that overseas candidates could bring to the Australian market, because we are a little bit behind with some of these new innovations with Intralogistics and some of that investment, whether it's retrofitting some brown-built facilities or for a whole greenfield site design as well. But let's bring it back to CeMAT. So what have you loved about CeMAT Expo back in Melbourne here this year in 2024?
It's always the enthusiasm, it's always the sense of community. Although there's an awful lot of people who spend their day competing with one another, at the drinks event that we see, it feels like an industry, and it feels like there's some strong relationships, there's some strong networks. I don't mean it's always the same faces, there's always some fresh faces coming along year in, year out, but I'll go back to the point that I made previously. From our perspective, it's great to have a room which has people that we want to be talking to, people that we spend a lot of our time speaking to, either on the phone or via Teams calls, actually having them in the room. I'm still a great believer that physical conversations, face-to-face conversations, that's where you build trust and that's where you build the relationships.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Ian. Wonderful to speak to you. Congratulations on being one of the partners of CeMAT Australia 2024, and hopefully we'll get to see you in Sydney next year back at the Dome.
Already looking forward to it.
Great. Thanks, Ian. Cheers, mate.